outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hi guys, and welcome to another reading wrap-up here on Wrestling with Books and the first day of Vlogmas. I'm doing Vlogmas this year on this channel, Wrestling with Books, and on my original channel, Wrestling with Disney. And we're kicking it off on this channel with a reading wrap-up. And as you know, with my wrap-ups, I kind of just do it where I kind of do it vlog style. Like right now, making a cup of coffee. I want to show you my new single Keurig, because we used to have a double and it doesn't work. It leaks and the Keurig part of it exploded. But since I like coffee so much, sometimes I want a pot, sometimes I just want one cup. So I need both. So meet Dusty Rose. This is her. It's both her name and her color. And we're really excited to welcome her to the home. Beautiful. Thank you for taking a moment to appreciate my girl Dusty. But the first book I read was called Cynthia Starts a Band by Olivia Swindler. And when I say the first book I read, I mean the first book I read since the last time I chatted with you. I wonder what I have behind here on this messy fridge. Anything that would really mortify me, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So Cynthia Starts a Band. This was a case of a book that I feel like had a lot of potential. And by potential, what I mean is that I feel like maybe it was almost there. It was almost there. I really like the concept. So the concept is, I kind of had a visual of Britney Spears, like that type of celebrity, who is really controlled. And her name is actually Eleanor, the main character. And Eleanor is a huge singer in a country band where there's 4 of them in it. One of them is a married couple, and then it's her and this other male singer who is just really popular, really handsome, but isn't necessarily a nice person. Let's see if I can get his name, because I don't remember it. I can't find its name. But she's under pressure to fake this relationship with him, and so much of her life is controlled. Down to now she can't even date, and she ends up just running away and leaving that life behind and taking on this character, this new persona of Cynthia, and starting a new life. But eventually the life she has as a celebrity catches up with her. So that sounds really awesome, right? And it was just, I just think the author needs a little more time and a little more maybe drafts or experience, but it was almost there. There are just times with the writing where the dialogue didn't flow, or the transitions were really abrupt, or there was a big suspension of belief when Cynthia goes to just start this new life, you know, because imagine being Britney Spears and trying to just disappear. That's going to be hard. So I think if some of those things were fine-tuned a little, that this book could be super huge. But it was good. It was good. So if you like celebrity culture, I would say check it out and you'll have some fun with it. Now, the next book I read is called Decoding Greatness. I had heard the author on one of my favorite podcasts, the So Many Podcasts. The author is Friedman, and it's Decoding Greatness, How the Best in the World Reverse Engineer Success. So it was all about, you know, reverse engineering, and that's something that I've been hearing a lot of stories about, how like Microsoft and Apple did that with a lot of things, where you'd be like, this is what they're putting out, let's reverse engineer it and create it. But there's a lot of different examples and ways you can apply it more casually in your life. They did get into writing and how some writers reverse engineer and just see how somebody plotted out a story, and they do that with their stories. They have this quote from novelist Tom Perrotta that's, if you don't read all the time, I'm guessing you're not a writer. And that's no criticism, that's a litmus test. And I just like that because I'm a reader, so I like to think, oh, well then I must be a writer. I must be a writer. But I do marketing for a living, and there were some quotes that really resonated with my job with that too, like vanity metrics are figures that are easy to amplify and generally excite non-experts, but do not reflect thriving business. So I was like, woof, man, I deal with that every day because everyone's like, well, I don't have 10K followers, you know? So what am, you know, that's what I need to be successful, and it's not. That's what people think they need to be successful. So Dusty Rose here works a little different than my past Keurigs. You don't select like a button. Ooh, sorry. For the amount of coffee you want, you have to put in that amount of coffee. Wow. This takes a lot of coffee then. Shoot. Shoot! Guess my Pinocchio mug is just too darn big. Oh, okay, okay. This is my first cup, guys. It's kind of making a loud noise. So if you like business books, I even would attest it to kind of self-growth. Decoding Greatness is a great title. Here we go, here we go. And also the podcast, I heard about it on So Money with Farnoosh Torabi. Love it, love it. Teaches you about just investing your money, money growth, RIAs, IRAs. See, I need it, okay? I totally recommend So Money with Farnoosh Torabi. But I want to tell you about the next book I read, because this was a 5-star read for me. I was really excited to get this book off of NetGalley. And first, like, let me just clarify, like, saying I used to think when people said I got it off NetGalley, that was like, I got it off NetGalley. But I'm a nobody, and I got this off NetGalley, and I get a lot of books off NetGalley. So anyone can get books off NetGalley is what I'm learning. You might not get all the books of all the things that you want, but you will get books off of NetGalley. And this was a book that I had read book 1 via audiobook. I had heard about it from Riley Marie, and I liked the audiobook quite a bit. And when I saw that this was available, I requested it and I got it, and then I did feel cool. I did feel excited. We got the coffee. I think I'm gonna add some honey into this today. But so this is book 2. Book 1 is called The Boneshard Daughter, and book 2 is The Boneshard Emperor. It is the story of Lin, who is the Emperor's daughter, and the Emperor is very, almost kind of cold and competitive with her, like, you know, having all these challenges for her. She had gotten sick and it affected her memory, so he's always trying to restore her memory and then rewards her based on how she does with that. I'm looking for like my honey spool thing while I talk to you, because, and so that's, you know, her journey in book 1, but it's so much more than just about her. You get all these different characters, my favorite being Jovis, who is the Emperor is not a good person. He's called the Boneshard Emperor because everybody has this bone shard that the Emperor uses magic. It's a bone like at the back of your neck, and you have to surrender it to the Emperor. And if he uses your bone, and he can write a command on it and put it into something else, and then you die because your bone shard is being used. So Jovis is against this, and a lot of other characters that you meet. And in book 2, so book 1, all those characters are separate, and book 2, they all come together. And there is this one scene in particular towards the end, the action sequence, that is just so incredible and so incredibly written. And one thing that's really fun about this book is that Lin, who is the Emperor's daughter, and Jovis, who is like the hero, have these awesome pets. They're ocelins, they're called in the book, and they're like kind of like cats and sea otters. The pets talk, and they get really big. They're just so fascinating, and they seem like the companion anybody would want as a pet, and I can't wait to read more about them. So I love this book. I love seeing the characters I enjoyed in book 1 all together. That was fantastic, and I love the action sequence. I feel the author, Andrea Stewart, that her writing just got better with this book. So I totally recommend it. 5-star read for me. Yay! is crying over spilt almond milk. The next book I read was The Plot by Hanff Korelitz, and let me tell you, oh wow, this was probably another, I mean, 4 to 5 star read for sure. I believe I heard about this on Reading Riley's channel. This girl, she has not steered me wrong. Any book I have read that she's recommended, I have loved. So you should check out her channel, especially if you like thrillers or horror. This one, it's definitely, I mean, it's a thriller, but it's not like a gory thriller or anything about that. It's about an author who, he has this one successful book and then that's it. His other books don't do as well, and he becomes a professor and teaches writing classes, and he meets this really obnoxious, pompous student in a writing class who says, you know, I don't need your, Buzz, you okay? That was the cat. He says, I don't need your tips because my plot is so good that I can't mess it up. Like, no problems here. I am in control. He gets the student to share his plot and he agrees with him, like, wow, all he has to do is write it and this will be huge. It'll be a movie. This will be amazing. And he still thinks about this student years later because he was just so nasty, and every now and then he'll look him up to be like, let's see, you know, did you write your perfect novel like you thought you were going to? And then what he ends up discovering is that the student has passed and he writes the story himself. And this takes you through the whole journey of that. And the writing style is very unique. It is not like anything else I've read. I think because the way I almost said watch is because this really just felt like a TV series that I binged. Like, it was written very casually and it really worked. I found myself just wanting to keep going and keep going. There were some things where I felt I was able to predict, but I loved it. And I think I might do a dedicated review on this book, even with spoilers, just so I can kind of talk about it more with you. The next book, and I think this is where we kind of took a dive. You know, we had 2 really good reads in a row, and then it really slowed down because I read Dear Santa by Debbie Macomber, and I used to really like these cozy Christmas reads from Debbie and the like, but this one was tough for me. It's, if you like Hallmark movies, this is your cup of tea. If you do not, maybe skip it. It is short though. It didn't, if I was able to read it through, it wouldn't have taken long, but because I would kind of just read a chapter then go to something else because it didn't really hold my interest. But is about a girl, I already forget her name. I think it might have been Libby or Liddy. Is the name important? Is it in these things? I guess so. Lindy meets, she moved to Seattle, I believe the big city, and is coming home for Christmas. She's waiting for this big promotion and project at her job. And when she comes home for the holidays, her mom is kind of like, wow, I found all these old letters to Santa you wrote as a kid. And what Lindy's seeing is what she would say to Santa would kind of come true. And that was like, wow, maybe I should start doing it again. So she does. She, you know, writes that she's, you know, misses having a best friend, and that she, you know, is ready for a relationship. And you know, and then who walks into her life but her old best friend from elementary school, Peggy. And then she runs into this boy who she'd written to Santa about because he would tease her in elementary school, and she wished he would get coal. And then she found out that Christmas his dad left. So it was like, ooh, that's intense. But they end up, you know, starting to have feelings for each other, which puts Lindy into the predicament of, is she gonna try to start a new life back at home? Or is she going to, if she gets this promotion at work, go back to work? So that is where we left off with Dear Santa. If you like Hallmark movies, you will like it. And if you don't like Hallmark movies, you will not like it. I did not like it. I don't watch Hallmark movies. I just watch A Very Brady Christmas on loop. That's what happens in my home for the holidays. And then the last book I read this month, I guess, was A Song of Achilles. A Song of Achilles. I saw another booktuber read this and cry at the end and then have to read the end again, and I was like, well, that's enough to intrigue me. And I've never read the Iliad or the Odyssey or any of Homer's works, so I was really going into this like all new. The writing definitely was great. It kept me wanting to read and read and read, but I did not feel that same connection and level of passion, which I think anyone, when you go into a book having that high of a recommendation, that can happen. But I still did really like it, and as I was reading it, there were friends I was thinking of where I'm like, yes, they would like this. I want to recommend this to them. It tells the story of Achilles and Patroclus. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it tells their story, and their story is a really amazing one, truly amazing, really deep, just it really does impact you, and it wouldn't surprise me to know that people are touched, especially, I mean, you're touched throughout the whole book, but it does not surprise me that somebody would be touched at the end. This is a book that could hit you that way. I really enjoyed it. I liked both of those characters pretty much the entire time, even when especially Achilles maybe wasn't being the most favorable. I felt like you still respected their love and feelings for each other throughout the whole time. They were always true to that, and I think that's a great kind of story to read. So even though this is about, you know, myths and mythology and war and spears and fighting, I think more than anything, it is actually a love story. And that's what I liked about it most. So I would recommend it, but this did not make the 4 or 5 star read mark for me, unfortunately. Like, it's not something I think I would revisit again. It was so well written though that maybe it's a 4 star, but it just didn't, it's just not, it's, yeah, some books hit you a different way. It just, and there was nothing wrong with the book. It's just sometimes that interpersonal connection. So those were all the books I read since my last update. So I think pretty much these are all the books I read in November. Right now I have a few books going already. I'm reading Cress, which is part of the Lunar Chronicles. I'm gonna try to finish that because my husband is reading Renegades, which is my favorite Marissa Meyer series, and I'm really jealous. So I'm like, well, maybe if I read these, it will be just as good. And we're doing Vlogmas, so if you come back tomorrow, I'm part of a Bookish Christmas, and this was a gift exchange between other book lovers where we each curated a Christmas book box for each other. So I hope you'll check that out and let me know what you think of it, because then maybe we can try to do, you know, one for like Christmas in July or something like that, or do like, you know, a bookish seasonal swap for the spring or summer if you like that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm just excited it's Vlogmas, excited to keep you in the loop of what I'm going to be reading this month. And if you have any requests of content for Vlogmas, let me know. I'm going to be telling you my favorite audiobooks, my favorite self-help and self-growth books. We got a bit into Decoding Greatness, so that, something like that, you'll definitely find on that list. We're going to have a lot of fun things. And of course, more Buster. It's a Buster's paper. He loves it. Loves it because he moves his tail. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here, and happy vlog.